hello, and welcome back to the Movie Thoughts Podcast. I am your host, Dominic Tartamella. This is episode 157. Boom, pow, bang. Back at it again. Haven't done an episode in a couple weeks. Fell off again. Whatever. I'm back. We're going to be talking about the new film, Novocaine, in a second. Get into it. But let's catch up. I don't know. I don't know what I left off on. As far as the last episode, because what did I do the last episode? I know I did Paddington Bear. I know that was one of the movies I did. Let's take a look here. I did Cobra Kai finale, and I did Paddington in Peru. The last episode, if you listen to that, that was from a little while ago. What was it? February 16th. Oh, wow. It's almost a month now. Wow, I'm slacking. But as I said, I'm back again. As far as like movie news, as I write down sometimes little notes of things that jump out my attention. Before the last episode, I checked out SNL 50, which was, of course, the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live. It was pretty good. It was pretty enjoyable. It was nice seeing, the older cast members. I'm a big SNL fan as far as the old school SNL nowadays doesn't, like, I watch it from time to time, doesn't really hit like it used to, but I'm a fan, especially of the era I grew up with, which is, of course, the Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, Mike Myers, Dana Carvey, Phil Hartman, God rest his soul, and a lot of other people, Chris Farley included, Norm Macdonald, of course. I'm just going to talk about dead people and make everything depressing, but yeah, it was enjoyable. I still remember when they did the last one, the last anniversary, the 40th, I think it was, and that was interesting. See, this one was a little different, but they had a nice amount of stuff. Eddie Murphy popped up in some sketches, which was cool. Some stuff hit, obviously some stuff doesn't. That's usually how it is with Saturday Night Live. I'll watch it when I like a host, right? Like this past week, Shane Gillis was on. I think at the time I'm recording this, I think Lady Gaga was on it last night. Honestly, I didn't watch that one, but Shane Gillis was on last week. He's pretty funny. He's a funny dude. So I enjoyed that. What else happened? As far as Paddington, I heard something about a Paddington hacker. Like somebody hacked, and I don't even know. I don't even know if it's true now that I think about it, because it was something I saw like very quickly on Twitter, and then I wrote down this little note for it, and then like I haven't done an episode in almost a month, so like God knows I haven't heard anything else. As far as what I've been doing, just been chilling out. I have some time off from work right now, so I'm just taking it easy. We're going to be going back soon, but just watching stuff, relaxing, resting my body a little bit. I'm going down like a Watchmen hole. I was reading, I reread that comic book, and then I was reading some of the spin-off series and stuff like that. And then I rewatched Zack Snyder's Watchmen, which is, I think it's coming, when the hell did that come out? Shit. Let's see. Zack Snyder's Watchmen, because that's like the time. Let's get real depressed, because we're probably going to get depressed. 2009. What is that? How many years is that? 2009. Somebody help me. And when I say somebody help me, I mean my wife, who's not too far away from me. Yeah, what is that? 2009. Oof, I just fucking vomited a little bit in my mouth. My God, 16 years ago, going on 20 years. Right, that comic came out in the 80s, and of course the adaptation in 2009, and I like it. It's not a perfect film, but it's good. Revisiting it, it was a lot of shit I forgot, and it was nice. Like I did it with a back-to-back reread of the comic, so that was cool. I think it's good. I think it's a good thing that doesn't really get the love it deserves. Probably one of Zack Snyder's better things. I watched the extended one. I think it's a little bit bloated. That tends to happen with a lot of Zack Snyder stuff. He is, in his defense, he did make that movie exactly how the comic book is, except for a couple little details. But he did adapt it pretty faithfully. So I give him credit for that. But I think it holds up. It holds up. Jeffrey D. Morgan as a comedian is great. Rorschach's great in that movie. I like it. There's a lot of memorable stuff in there. What else? Just been, as far as other comic book news, Apparently there's a Clayface movie coming out, which is cool. I'm into it. Speaking of comics, I recently was reading some Clayface stuff. Got in the mood. Got in the mood. The Batman slash Clayface thing, and he's an interesting character. There's obviously a lot of different iterations of him, but he's an actor in a lot of those iterations, and then he goes bad, and he's fucking he's kind of like this tragic figure. So and they're saying that they're gonna do this movie almost as like a horror movie, which is cool. I like that. I think this could work if they get the right people involved. Last I heard, Mike Flanagan is writing it, but not directing it. Now I'm hearing that James Watkins, who directed the remake of Speak No Evil, which was pretty good in its own right. So, I'm interested. I'm down with it. I think maybe they probably... I just wonder, especially post Joker 2, where that was, if they do this a small budget, I think it could work. Will it tie into Batman? We shall see. Past that, what else is going on? The Bond stuff. We'll get a little bit into the Bond stuff because I think there's going to be a future Bond deep dive episode. But apparently, so this was a thing a few months ago. I believe it was in December. The last Bond movie was No Time to Die, which came out now. Let's do some more. Let's do some more calculations to make me depressed. Okay, that wasn't that far away. It's 2021, right? So 4 years ago, the last Bond movie came out, ending Daniel Craig's run as Bond, and now it's kind of been quiet as far as Bond, right? Bond's, it comes in cycles with the James Bond movies. Sometimes they take longer breaks than usual. Sometimes it's a couple of years. Sometimes it's 5-6 years. Even the Timothy Dalton, I think his second and final movie was in '89, License to Kill, and then it wasn't until 95 or 96 we got GoldenEye. We got Pierce Brosnan in GoldenEye, so they take their time with these things. It's normal, but it came out recently because Amazon, bought up MGM. It came out in around December that the producers of the James Bond movie, who is I'm forgetting her name, the Broccoli family, because that's actually what they are. They were having some kind of discrepancies with Amazon, right? Apparently, you heard that Amazon was trying to do. The quote was, I'm going off the top of my head here, remembering my fucking rotten brain here, but they were trying to Marvelize James Bond. Not really something that was, feeling good to James Bond fans, including myself. I was kind of and apparently they had these arguments back and forth. Amazon, I think she badmouthed Amazon and said they're idiots or something like that. They're fucking idiots. So that happened in December, and that also tied into the fact that why we haven't heard any progress on a new James Bond movie. And then about a week ago, about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they dropped the news that Amazon's going to have full creative control. They made a deal that Amazon's going to have full creative control. The Broccoli family and the other producer is going to stay on, right? And they're still going to be a part of it, but they're not going to have final decision. And the creative stuff, kind of scary because especially after hearing the stuff you heard in December, right? The panic struck the internet for James Bond fans, and it's kind of like, oh, this is not good, because this is something that's been kind of in house with that same family and for a long time, right? When MGM was doing it, the same producers, who was Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, they were the ones producing it. Before that, it was Broccoli's father was doing it since the Sean Connery ones. And this has been something that's kind of been this family affair for so long. And there's good Bond movies, there's bad Bond movies, there's kind of goofy Bond movies. I enjoy them all, but there's a varying quality, right? But they've kind of stayed a certain way for so long now, having Amazon be in control and Jeff Bezos. Listen, it could be a good thing. It could be a good thing. It could be something that is works out, change is good sometimes, and maybe they need a breath of fresh air. But it also could be oversaturating things. I mean, I think that's what happened a little bit with Disney and Star Wars, and they kind of just do so much stuff, and there's a lot of hits in there, but then there was a lot of misses, and some people argue more misses than hits. So, like, what does it become, right? Is there a spin-off, of the Secretary Moneypenny? Apparently there's rumors of that. Do we want to see that? The James Bond fans want to see that. That's the thing moving forward. Now, since then, there's been, a lot of rumors, a lot of stuff coming out. I think apparently Amazon, after Barbara Broccoli said that shit, Jeff Bezos was like, pay her whatever the fuck she wants to get out. So this is some drama. There's some drama there. They wanted full control. They got full control. Apparently they paid her like 1 point something billion, allegedly. That's what the rumors are. But, like, what's the future of that? I mean, if that's the end of the James Bond movies as we know it and it becomes something else, we had a good run, right? It was, 1964 or something like that, Dr. No. So we had a good run. I'm currently rewatching all the Bonds to my wife's, I don't know what she'd say, disappointment, disgust, but I'm literally... So there's 25 Eon production official James Bond movies. Then I'm not going to get into this. I'm going to do a podcast about Bond once I finish all them, because I think I could just let it out and maybe talk about who my favorite Bond is and shit like that. I'll do a bonus episode with that. But there's 25 movies. There's 26 counting an unofficial Sean Connery one. Which I will get into all the details on that when I talk about that. But and then there's also Casino Royale, the 60s one that was kind of like a parody. I'm not watching that one, but I am watching the 25 and then plus the Sean Connery 26th one. So I'll get back to you. I'm about halfway through those. I'm rewatching them. Some of them I haven't watched in years, so I'm revisiting all that. But yeah, now that's fresh in my head. But yeah, James Bond's all the rave right now because people are thinking, like, who's going to be the next James Bond? Who's going to direct the next James Bond? There's rumors that Christopher Nolan, and these go back years, there's rumors that Nolan wanted to do it a while ago, and now there's rumors that Amazon's talking to him. I don't know how true that is. That would be great. I think that, but Nolan's he's gonna require a full-on theatrical run, right? So he's not gonna sign a deal unless they give that to him, which is a good thing. But also Nolan's not a guy who's gonna stick around for a couple movies, right? Maybe he'll do the Dark Knight thing and he'll stick around for a few movies, but he's probably gonna bail after one movie. He's probably just gonna get it off the ground. And then it comes into question, obviously there's other directors that it could possibly be and shit like that, but like then it comes to the question, who's a good Bond, right? You go with a younger Bond, you go with somebody a little older. I mean, a rumor for a long time, he's talked about it, Henry Cavill, Superman, obviously being Bond. I would love Henry Cavill as Bond. I think he would be a great Bond. We'll see. I think he's like 40, 41, so he's a little bit like older than most Bonds ideally start. But he could be good. He's good, even if he's in a couple movies. We'll see. Now, if Christopher Nolan does it, is he going to want Henry Cavill? So those are the things, is Amazon going to be like, no, you have to use Henry Cavill? Is that going to create a problem? You never know what's going to happen now that you have Amazon at the helm with this, but we shall see. There was also, I watched the Oscars recently. There was also a tribute to Bond, which was pretty cool. The Oscars, I got a botched view of the Oscars. Some shit happened. I watched it too late, and I didn't completely watch it this year. I watched most of it. I watched some of the highlights, but it kind of fell off my original plan. But I did watch most of the stuff. Conan was good. The Bond tribute was fine. I think it was more, you could tell it was like a last kind of resort, last minute idea of just like giving tribute to the Bond franchise and the Broccoli family and Michael G. Wilson and kind of like, I don't want to say it felt like a funeral because I saw some people saying, oh, it felt like almost like the death of Bond and like that was the end. It felt like just like, all right, now it's in different hands. This thing went on for like 60 years in the same hands essentially, and now it's somebody else. Now it's Amazon. So it's kind of like an end of an era. So I take it as like, okay, whatever comes next isn't quite the same thing. It's honestly it's very similar. Obviously Star Wars didn't have the same longevity prior, but like it's very similar to Star Wars being sold by Disney. they sold to Disney rather. There was a lot of optimism, I think, beforehand, when including myself. I mean, it was like, oh shit, we're gonna get more Star Wars movies. I think that because now we live in this post Disney Star Wars world, and even like Marvel has its lows and shit now. So like now people are being more aware of like, oh, maybe it going to a big company is gonna fuck it up. So like it's a different time. I'm gonna remain optimistic. If they announce fucking crazy shit like Christopher Nolan directing a movie, that would boost my excitement for it. Definitely, if they announce Henry Cavill being Bond, that would definitely boost my account. This is crazy. It's kind of out on a whim, but like Pierce Brosnan did an interview recently and kind of like toyed around with the idea of returning as Bond. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. But then there was like a photo shoot with him and one of the cars from Die Another Day, and it's igniting people's excitement. And hey, I wouldn't be surprised because of that excitement if Amazon's like, hey, we're doing a fucking new Bond. Well, let's say Henry Cavill, somebody's going to be our new Bond. But before we do that, we're doing an older Bond. One more movie, Pierce Brosnan, fucking boom. Mind blown. I'd be into it. I'd take all that. That's when maybe the concept of Amazon taking it could be cool, because with the prior leadership, they weren't going to do something like that, right? They weren't going to do like two different Bond movies with two different Bonds back to back. But maybe Amazon, with the whole streaming and shit, they might do something like that. So that's potential to think about. But I've ranted and raved about James Bond enough. Other than that, I don't know. I watched a new 4K transfer of Uncle Buck recently. It looks beautiful. Uncle Buck, John Candy, the late great John Candy, just recently came out on Blu-ray, 4K. So I picked that up and I watched it, and that movie's a fucking classic if you haven't seen that. But as far as that's pretty much it. I think we'll get into Novocaine. As I said, I think we're going to do another Bond episode once I finish all the movies and I've have them all fresh in my head. I'm going to talk about some stuff. God knows it could be just 2 hours of me talking about Bond. If you don't want to listen to that, don't listen to it. But let's get into Novocaine, the new film directed by Dan Burke and Robert Olson. It's written by Lars Jacobson. The film stars Jack Quaid, Amber Midthunder, Ray Nicholson, and Jacob Batalon, as well as some other people. Now, the film is, if you've seen the trailers, it's a guy who doesn't feel pain, right? He's like a fucking, just a regular guy. He works for like an insurance company or something, and he doesn't feel pain. That's like his thing. That's the joke. The movie, and you could tell from the trailers, it's kind of, it's an action movie, but it's got a lot of comedy in it. So the trailers definitely had me looking forward to this film, because I was like, oh, this is cool. I like Jack Quaid a lot. Obviously, he's in The Boys. He was recently in the film Companion, and I gotta say, he's a good leading man. He's, of course, full disclosure, because you got to talk about the nepotism in Hollywood, which is, it's, some people bash it, but it is what it is. Sometimes I think it's ridiculous, as far as like some people that are not talented. But when you got a guy like Jack Quaid who is talented, then it all works out, because he is Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's kid, so he's out there. And he's also Randy Quaid's nephew. That's right, Randy Quaid. Nothing wrong with Randy Quaid. He's a perfectly normal human being. But Jack Quaid's a good actor. I think, seeing him in Companion, I definitely saw like this guy is like a star. And then in this movie, he's good. He's a good leading man. I like him. He's likable. He doesn't feel like he's being overshadowed. He feels like he's in control of the movie. Like when you have a leading man in there, he's running the shit, basically. You got Amber Midthunder, who was in the Predator prequel Prey, which was on Hulu, which is good. Very good movie. She's a good actress as well. She's kind of like the romantic interest in this movie. As I said, Jacob Batalon is in this movie, who's, for the Spider-Man movies, is Ned. He's kind of doing the same thing he does in that, but he's an enjoyable, kind of funny guy. And I had a lot of fun with this movie. It's action-packed, as I said. There's a lot of humor in it. There is a lot of gore. If you're into the squeamish or you're not into the squeamish, there's some gross-out stuff. It's very over-the-top, so it's done in a way where it's like, it's so ridiculous. But obviously this guy doesn't feel pain, so there's going to be a lot of things, whether his hand's going in a deep fryer or, his fingernails, something may happen with that. I hear my wife cringing because she don't like that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of that, stabbing, shooting. So if you're not into that kind of stuff, yeah, it's gross out in that way. This movie's an R-rated film for a reason. Because of that, you see all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I will say it's a film that surprised me. Like, I only saw a couple of trailers for it, but it definitely has some twists and turns in there, which I didn't see coming. And I was kind of like, oh, this is good. This works. Some stuff kept me on my feet with that. There's another Nepo baby, so to speak, in this film, and that is Jack Nicholson's son, Ray Nicholson, who recently appeared in Smile 2. He's going to be in the new film Borderline coming out soon, and he's a good actor. He's obviously got the Jack Nicholson kind of face. He's doing a lot of that. But he's one of the villains. I didn't even know he was in the movie, to be honest. And then the movie started and he's a villain. Not going to spoil anything, but he's in a pretty big part of the movie and he's good. I like what he's doing career-wise. Because just like with Jack Quaid, it's hard to kind of, shake that famous parent thing and build a career on your own. I think Jack Quaid is doing a good job, and now I think Ray Nicholson's kind of coming out of nowhere, but he's popping up in these kind of small roles. He obviously is doing a couple of horror movies here and there, and that's not really different than what his father started with back in the day. Working with Roger Corman back in the day, so it's pretty cool to see him do that, and he's good. He's good. I like him. I'd like to see him in a more of a leading role, but I think he plays a good fucking psycho. He inherited that gene from his father. Yeah, and this movie's about an hour and 50 minutes. It's fun. It's definitely a film that, it's not a sequel. It's not a remake. I don't think it's based on anything. It might be. I could be wrong on that. Don't hold me to it, but it's a movie that's an original movie, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely worth going out to the theater and going to check it out. As I said, some stuff is predictable. You could see some stuff happening, but I think there's a lot of stuff in here that's surprising. So definitely try to go in without spoilers, and I hope this movie makes some good money. I mean, the other movie that came out, I saw an early screening of this film. The other movie that came out this week was Mickey 17 with Robert Pattinson, which I will see at some point. But I just was more into the plot of this one, and I felt like it would be a funner time at theaters. Mickey 17 looks pretty good, but it looks like it goes fucking weird and off the rails, so I'll see that at some point. But yeah, definitely recommend Novocaine. A good time, obviously. As I said, if you're a little bit squeamish, it's not a PG-13 action movie, so there is a lot of stuff in there. It's a ridiculous concept, but when you're watching it, it works. There's definitely rules they set up, and there's things you don't think of, right? When you think of not feeling pain, if somebody had that condition, it's like, oh, what else would come with that? There's definitely a lot of stuff that goes with that, which is funny. And yeah, enjoy that movie. Definitely go see it. I think it's a movie that deserves to do well at the theater, and of course, I'm rooting for guys like Jack Quaid and Ray Nicholson, who are fucking, trying to get out of that I'm this guy's son thing, and they're actually good actors, right? For all the people that are making it, leeching off their parents, I can't think of any right now that aren't good actors and actresses. These guys are pretty fucking good, and definitely worth seeing this movie. It's a fun, honestly, I think if it had more star power in it, it would be like a summer movie. I think it would be like a summer blockbuster, but because it doesn't really have big names in it, it's out in March, and it could be forgotten, but I'm just glad it wasn't on streaming or anything like this, because it seems like something that might be on streaming that I would see a trailer for and be like, meh, but going to the theater, definitely a good theater experience, pretty packed theater, so hopefully word of mouth and stuff like that keeps that going. But that is the episode for today. If this is the first time you're listening, welcome. Rate, review, subscribe. Check out the other episodes, iTunes, Spotify. Write a review, send a text, whatever you want to do. Check me out on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at Dom Solo Reels, where I post some funny stuff from time to time. And as I said, I'll be back soon, probably I don't know what comes out this week. I mean, I'm gonna see Mickey 17 at some point, as I said. If I see that or I see something else, obviously I'll be back. But I think the Bond episode that I'm gonna do, and I'll talk about all that. So if you're a fan of Bond, that'll be fun. But yeah, that's the episode. Thanks for listening, and have a good night.